Let's edit some photos. Hello, this looks so dark. We are still going strong. This is honestly the only thing that I have creatively kept up with in probably years. The fact that I finished my degree at some point is wonderful. Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to edit photos in Lightroom Mobile. This is one of the few Adobe apps that is actually for free on the App Store and is used by many people that don't have the entire Adobe suite. It is so wonderful and so easy to just make quick mobile adjustments before posting photos on whatever platform you're on. So let's get to it. I'm also going to do a split screen because I didn't like the view last time when you could just see my iPad. So we'll see if that's better. Okay, so this is my screen once again, as you can see, and as I've told you before, Lightroom is free to anyone on the App Store. So if you go into the Lightroom app, there's going to be 5 tricks that I'm going to show you today, and I am going to use some of my favorited photos, so then you don't have to look through all these photos of my cat. So if you go to my favorites, there's 7 photos here. And I'm going to show you 5 steps of what I think is the easiest ways to edit photos. I'm going to show you cropping, which can make your photo that much more dynamic. We're going to go over presets, which I have a couple bought presets, and I can show you which ones are my favorite currently. We're going to go over adjustments in color, so mainly color adjustments. There's a lot of different things that you can do in light and adjustments, but the color balance is what we're going to look at. White balance is what we're also going to look at, and then everyone's favorite, healing brush. If I go to this book picture, which is already edited, already set, and I'm just looking at it from a graphic perspective, it's fine. It's a picture. It's nothing exciting. To make it a little bit better, I'm going to go into this crop tool up here, and then I'm just going to simply make it a little more dynamic. I will keep the aspect ratio on up here locked. You can unlock it and move around with it, but the 3x4 is what's going to fit best. So just taking off some of the sides, the flooring, maybe I don't want so much of the flooring, and just a little bit more focus on the book. So you can also change your degrees. If you drag and pull, you can change the degrees. So I want this book on the bottom to be a little bit more interesting, and that finished product is an even more dynamic photo than the one that we started with, just because of the way that you're looking at it. The center focus of the together is better, the start with Y, all of those reasons. So very easy way to crop and turn and rotate. Great for angular pictures or pictures that you just need to readjust the focus back to. So another thing that I think is important is temperature adjustments. And it's a very simple thing to do, but sometimes you get a photo that's really, really too warm in colors, too bright, or too stark. However you want to match it to the rest of your photos that you have, this is a great way to fix that. So say if I opened this photo that I have of my desk, and I think the floor is a little too warm. I think the colors are a little too warm. As you can tell, this is the floor that's in the picture also, so it's still just generally a warm color. If I go to the sliders at the top, and then I go into color, the temperature is what I fix most often, and it's what makes the photo look best, next to all the other photos at least. So if I were to go in here and just adjust this down a tiny bit, I can change the temperature a lot. So just going from here back to what we started with, you can tell that there's a warmth in that adjustment. Well, there's a cool in that adjustment of the warmth. So I do that often just to bring out the blue a little bit more. I have a lot of blues in my photos. That's a really great way to brighten up your photos. So the next thing that I want to make sure everybody knows about is white balance. It could be considered similar to the temperature adjustments that we just did, but it's more of finding a balancing point for your entire picture. So it's not just taking out the warm colors, it's actually going to reset your entire lighting spectrum, if that makes any sense. So if I were to go to this really adorable, really low quality picture that I took of Opie last night, I have all warm lighting in my rooms. So if I take any photo that's not in daylight, it looks like this every single time, which it's not terrible, but it's not a quality colorless photo. So if I go back to these slider adjustments at the top and I go back to the color where we just were to adjust temperature, there's this WB and an as shot pull down menu. So this is going to be where you want to stay when your colors get too warm, when you have all of your whites are yellow. Like he has very white fur and it is very yellow in this picture. So if we drop down to this as shot, there's a lot of ways to do this. The auto is a quick, awesome way to make your photos look really good without having to adjust anything. So if you were to click on this auto, that looks like it was shot in daylight now. It's adjusted almost everything, and to me, in this background of, just ignore these shoeboxes, in this background, that's what those look like. It didn't distort those colors any. Now, if you were to adjust to the auto and it distorts some of your colors, you can go in and do a manual white balance pull, which you may also want to do if you have certain light sources in the original photo that you want the entire photo to be like. So this one, not so much, because there's literally no daylight in it. But if you were to pull this down and you were to go to custom, it takes it back to that yellow photo. And if you click this eyedropper right here, you can move around this eyedropper to find the light that you want. So if the light on the door is what I want, that's what it'll adjust to. You can see that this is a little too blue now. The sheets are a little too blue, they're gray. There's a little bit of a discoloration in the chair in the background. So unless you have an actual light source, this is not going to be as accurate as your auto light source is. So that's white balance. If we go to this balcony picture from a birthday, you can see that it's a little dull. It was taken on kind of a darker day in January. So we are looking to brighten it up. And one of the best ways to do that is with an easy preset. So there's a lot of different presets that you can get, but if you go into this half circle button, you can see all of your presets. And you can make custom presets. So all of these different colors are already in here. It's very similar to, say, an Instagram filter, but it gives you a lot more control. So you can adjust very small things in the actual filter, if that's what we want to call it, as a preset, instead of just covering the entire photo and calling it a day and not having much control past that. So all of these color creative black and white defaults, these are all defaults that are already built into Lightroom. So they're perfect for anybody starting, trying to make their photos just to pop a little bit more. So something that could be easy that's already on here. If you're going into like a warm contrast, that's not terrible compared to what we just had. My camera stopped recording. And you can go in and adjust those. But what I like to do is if I see people's photos that I like, a lot of, I hate to say influencers, will create and then sell their own preset packs. And the preset packs are awesome because you can adjust to the mood that you're feeling or how you want the photo to look, and it's almost immediately correct. So this Cherry Photo Club right here is one of my favorites, and I bought it last year actually because I was just looking to have more of a consistent feed. It's so simple to make such a consistent look with presets because you can just apply them to every photo that comes in. So my favorite that's on a lot of these out of this Cherry Photo Club is this Dirty Blonde. It brightens, it changes the temperature a little bit. You can see it overexposed to the sky just a little bit, so something that I wouldn't be using all the time. But even while you apply these, so say that I apply this preset, all of these can still be changed, and it's something that I'll show you. When you go to this adjuster slide up here, You can edit the light. I will take down the exposure a little bit in all of the photos. I'll bring these down just a tiny bit. I like my shadows a little bit darker just because I don't like it to look too overdone. And I want to make it consistent, but not screaming, I overdid the hell out of this. So I take some of the light down. You can adjust some of the colors. I often take the grain down. Grain is great. It looks nice, but it's sometimes too much. So I'll take that down a little bit. Details are usually fine unless you're getting a rippling effect in some of your photos and it's looking too much. You can take this sharpening tool down a tiny bit. The last technique I'm going to show you is the healing brush. So if I were to pull this picture, say, love this picture, but I don't want the tag right here on this chair. Super simple fix. I can open it up. So I'm gonna go into this little Band-Aid icon, and here you have your method, which we're gonna leave on heal because we're just trying to incorporate the pixels around it. Lightroom is a little bit different than something that you would be doing in Photoshop because it's kind of still a clone tool in a weird way because it's still pulling from a different part of the photo. You don't have a strong enough operating system on an iPad to just heal it like you would in Photoshop, so it will still pull. But we do want to keep it on heal for right now. You can adjust the size here. You see that red dot is the size. So, I mean, I'm going to make it relatively large so that we can pull this tag area. And then your feather is going to be how harsh the outside is. I like to keep it at about half. And then the opacity is going to be how much it covers it. And for this, I'm not painting or doing anything additional, so I want to keep it at 100% opacity. And then you honestly just go in here with your brush tool, click. It's going to automatically sample a place, but you can move this around to sample any area of pixels, and you can move this around to cover up any area of pixels. And then you hit done, and there it is. I have removed the price tag. It's my chair now. That is my 5 tips of making quick, great adjustments to your photos. Honestly, this is one of the best apps to get regarding editing photos. There's a lot of other ones that aren't as high quality, and it's just so much easier to apply things quickly in here. And like I said, I use presets so often and I like them so much better than Instagram filters to things because I have so much more control. And that's on 5 quick editing tips for making your photos better. If you want to see more of my videos, you can go to the link below and subscribe to my channel and like because it helps me. And if you want to see any of my other socials, you can see them running on the animation now. Happy photo editing! Bye!